फोनो दिग पयोरे आर के बइये भूकत हो जइलो रोहिंग्या बइये अज्जा एक करनो सियत फोनो दिग पयोरे आर के बइये भूकत हो जइलो
जेनो बुझेर तारे आदर गरी बुझाइছো जेनो बुझेर तारे आदर गरी बुझाइছো मोहब्बतर माला गलत फिदाइबार वक्त
रोहिंग्या बइये अज्जा एक करनो सियत फोनो दिग पयोरे आर के बइये भूकत हो जइलो रोहिंग्या बइये अज्जा एक करनो सियत फोनो दिग पयोरे आर के बइये भूकत हो जइलो
रोहिंग्या बयन हर एक कौमत आसे गम खराफ और बुझाई न फैले किला रोहिंग्या बयन हर एक कौमत आसे गम खराफ और बुझाई न फैले किला आगे निजे गम्बनी बर कोशिश तो गरो आगे निजे गम्बनी बर कोशिश तो गरो तारपरे जाई निजर बाइयरे बुझाइतो सब
रोहिंग्या बइये अज्जा एक करनो सियत फोनो दिग पयोरे आर के बइये भूकत हो जइलो रोहिंग्या बइये अज्जा एक करनो सियत फोनो दिग पयोरे आर के बइये भूकत हो जइलो
आरा रोहिंग्या जाति बयन आरा मुसलमान आरा एकन देश और मानुष आरार देश अरकान आरा रोहिंग्या जाति बयन आरा मुसलमान आरा एकन देश और मानुष आरार देश अरकान आरा बर्मियोनो आरा बंगालियोनो आरा बर्मियोनो आरा बंगाल
Assalamu alaikum and welcome everyone to this very special Ramadan programming. Today on Humanitarian Hour, we're going to be speaking about the Rohingya. I'm your host for the next hour. My name is Shabnam Mayet and I'm speaking to you today from Tunisia. We also have people from all over the world today, some real heroes in their communities. We're speaking to people from Bangladesh, Abu Dhabi, Malaysia, from South Africa. And so if there are some technical glitches, we ask you to please bear with us. We all have a background to the Rohingya. We know that since the late 70s, they've been facing this genocide. Of course, it all came to a head in 2017 when the military of Myanmar began their clearance operation. And as a result of that, over 1 million Rohingya were forced over the border after experiencing the worst brutality at the hands of the Tatmadaw or Myanmar military. Of course, this is the same military that today is in charge of the Coup government and the coup and has been killing people for over a year now in Myanmar. This has led to a lot of citizens in Myanmar finally accepting that the Rohingya are part of them, and also the national unity government of the Myanmar people is even accepting jurisdiction of the UN. So we're going to speak a little bit about that later, but now we're going to get into our wonderful lineup of guests, and we're starting off with Sauda Ismail, who is speaking to us from Colors of Hope, a wonderful woman-led team of humanitarian activists. Assalamu alaikum, Sauda. Welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Shabnam. I hope you can hear me clearly.
I can hear you clearly, and it's wonderful to speak to you. Please tell us a little bit about Colors of Hope.
Well, Colors of Hope started in 2016. And we're a humanitarian organization that rises to the needs wherever there's a need, internationally and nationally here in South Africa. And specifically, our Rise for Rohingya or our Rohingya projects started 2 years after Colors of Hope was established. Actually, not even 2 years. So you mentioned 2017 when the genocide occurred. After that, we decided that we need to rise to the occasion to do something here in South Africa. And that's when we started our fundraising and we educated
And
people.
Sada, sorry to interrupt you.
No
Can you
problem.
please tell our listeners how Rice for Rohingya works?
Okay, Rice for Rohingya is it's basically not just rice, it's actually a food pack distribution, and it's a monthly food pack distribution. In South African rands, the minimum is 100 rand, but you can give whatever amount you want, just so that we can ensure that we can reach as many people as we can. So perishables or things like oil, lentils, rice, potatoes, those kind of things are being given monthly to refugees in the Bangladesh camps.
Okay, and for Ramadan, you're running a specific iftar project as well. Is that
Yes,
correct?
that's right. For Ramadan, we're doing iftar project in the camps, and the camps are Shamlapur camp, Chadimora camp, Damdamia camp, wherever we can make a difference. Although we really need everybody's support as much as we can get.
And how much does a meal cost?
A meal costs. We actually doing the whole food pack distribution. When we say 100 rand, it's for a family, and that's also like bare minimum. But a meal is just like 25 rand. That's not much at
That's
all.
amazing.
Yeah,
Especially now with these last 10 days, everyone wants to give more to
of
receive
course,
grace of barakah. It's a wonderful opportunity.
of
How
course.
has the South African response been?
You know, considering what's happened in our country with the floods, I can't thank people enough for, digging deep and still thinking of others at this time. And we just ask Allah to accept in this month of Ramadan everybody who's doing their but wherever they are. You're doing amazing work, and we're very, very appreciative.
That's wonderful. And how can people reach you and your project? If you can just give us your URL and your Twitter handle, please.
Okay, so you basically go into colorsofhope.org.za. You can donate via the website that's online, or our bank details are on screen. That's Colors of Hope. Our account number's there. But even if you drop us an email, that's info@colorsofhope.org.za. We're welcome to speak to you.
That's wonderful. Sauda, keep up the great work. Please wish the best to the rest of your team. And it's just amazing the work that you guys continue to do. Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much, Jazakallah. Thank you for having us, Shabnam.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Okay, so listeners, you've heard it. If you're in South Africa, 100 Rand a month or 25 Rand a meal gets you a way into helping the Rohingya in the camps, especially in these final days of Ramadan. And you know where to find Sauda at Colors of Hope. So I hope that you will be contacting them. The next guest that we're going to be speaking to is Dr. Ambia. And Dr. Ambia is a pediatrician. She's a psychiatrist. She's part of the Rohingya Medics Association, the European Rohingya Council. So we're always happy when she joins us on the show and she shares her wonderful insights with us. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Ambia. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Walaikum assalam, Ramadan Kareem. Thank you, Shabnam, and the organizers for inviting us. And may Allah accept all our good deeds and make this world peaceful again and again, and to leave a wonderful world behind for our generation.
Amen, amen. Dr. Ambia, let's just get right into it. What are the main health needs in the camp at this moment?
Shamdam, our cause, the Rohingya cause, Rohingya applied Rohingya genocide, we have been facing from all over the corners. It's not only a political issue, it's also a humanitarian issue on the ground. And the Rohingyas are still suffering with the medical issues beside the political and other humanitarian issues. So the humanitarian support or the humanitarian help with the medical help, it's a very, very minimum, especially in the refugee camps in Bangladesh, which are not enough and not under the minimum standard, and which are also based on short-sighted and therefore to lead a normal, healthy life with a healthy body and a brain. Um, um, the people, these Rohingya genocide survivors, when they came to Bangladesh, these are the people who have not only psychologically traumatized, but they also carry chronic diseases. So, like hepatitis C, hepatitis B, and tuberculosis, and also the other chronic diseases like diabetes, blood pressure. So, these people are not getting enough help, yeah, especially on the medications. They are not having to recheck or to know their status of their, for example, the virus load of hepatitis in their body, or they are not unable to check their blood pressure regularly, or they are unable to check their blood sugar and other small issues which are lack in the camp. And not only that, the medications, for example, the hepatitis medications are not that enough to every patient, and even if they are available, not to the normal amount or proper dosage that they need. And due to the chaos and the incidents happening recently in the camp, and the daily stress factors, they are unable to continue and to get the right and the basic health needs what they need. And also the lack of sanitation. There is fungal infection, or you can say the dermatological cases are also increasing, and they are
And
not
you can
getting
see it
also.
especially on the children, on their skin when you see them.
Yeah, and also when it comes to the children, they are enough, whatever the food nutritions they are getting, it's not enough to have to get these children to grow and to have a normal healthy body and a brain. So there are a lot of cases of malnourished, and they die due to small or very minimal diseases like diarrhea, like convulsion, febrile convulsions, which can be cured very easily. But because of the lack of the basic needs, health needs, these things are not prohibited, and there is mortality is also going up.
I see. Can you tell us, there's been a lot written in the past about the trauma situation and the trauma survivors and the trauma that, people, Rohingya, of course, we all know have experienced. But what kind of services, number one, are available in the camp for trauma survivors? And number two, what kinds of trauma now that it's like almost 5 years later are we dealing with?
Okay, Shabnam, it's a very important question. And I hope that the people who are focused on Rohingya cause, that they will play a vital role on these things. As I said earlier, that the Rohingyas are very vulnerable. They are the people or the survivors of genocide. These people have been going through multiple traumas due to the oppressed systematic system in their own motherland. So when they left their country, they saw a lot of traumas. And living in Bangladesh, they have daily stress factors like like sending them to Bhasan Char Island forcefully, and then these small or big to small massive fires which were not investigated, which nobody's questioned them. And these people, seeing these massive fires, burning their houses, burning their shelters, it is triggered their traumas, what they went through in their hometown in Myanmar. And beside that, these people are so vulnerable, and due to the daily stress factors, they don't get, due to the lack of humanitarian support and the medical support and other socio-economical support, their traumas are not even taking the step of getting the process of the healing, and though are re-triggered, they are re-traumatized. And whenever I talk to our people in the camp, majority are already suffering from PTSD, and some of them are really in need of coming out of the camp and getting the proper treatment, which is a trauma therapy. Trauma therapy is a luxury therapy which is not at all available in the camp. And even in Bangladesh, we have tried to search out to the Rohingya medics organizations. They're very small amount numbers are there, trauma therapists who are available everywhere, and especially in the camps. These vulnerable people, they need. So as I've said, due to the incidents recently happening, forcefully taking to the Bashanchar, depriving from other resources like education, and also forcefully taking them to Bashanchar, taking away from their relatives. These all are triggering factors for the Rohingyas, and unfortunately, none of them are getting the trauma therapy. I'm trying my best online, but due to the lack of also resources like proper internet access, and people are not allowed to get out of the camp, it is very unfortunate to give them the proper therapy.
Okay, all right. And the last question I have for you, Dr. Ambia, is what can South African women and men, of course, do for the Rohingya? What do you think that they should be doing?
There are a lot of things that many international community and the government and the local government Bangladesh is doing for the Rohingya people. We are very, very thankful. But when I see a little bit far, I see that we are all focused on short-sighted treatment than the long-term treatment. So because the short-sighted, for example, giving us the food, giving us when we are having the fever, giving us the paracetamol or a Panadol, when we have a skin infection, just giving us a local cortisone medications. These are very short-term treatment. We need a long-sighted treatment, long-sighted strategy should be built. For that, for the children especially, we want to protect our children, and these children should not be a lost generation. To protect them, to give them the proper thing, education is very, very important. For example, in the camps, when we visited, and through you have seen also, there are safe places are there are playgrounds are there, but this is very minimum and it's not enough. Singing and playing, engaging a little bit, it's not enough. What about our youth, our students who needs to go to the university, who needs to go for the higher education? And besides that, in the camp, there is no access of full, formal educations for our children. So education is very important to maintain our identity, to fight for our the atrocities we went through, to bring the junta to accountability. Secondly, our women who are not only the survivors, they are also victims who are widows, So skills, working skills should be provided, that they should feel, they should be able to live with hope. For that hope and to live further, and these widows can bring something benefit for them and for their community or for their family. Skill work should be given to them, and trauma therapy should be also provided. And besides that, the main thing, whoever works with our people, engagement is very important. Engagement means in every project, in every policy, every strategy that you want to help our people, engage a Rohingya who is working for you. He will be able to, or she will be able to protect herself, bring some positivity in herself and also to her family. So, and since we are the victims, we are the survivors, we know the solution, our best solution too. And as I've said, trauma therapy is very important. Skills works is very important. Safe place or safe space is very important for our women and our children and engagement to our people. And that can be done not only by the South Africans, but also worldwide. Above all, besides supporting the Rohingya, we all know that the military junta of Myanmar will never give up the power so easily, and they will never ever come to rescue us or rescue our people in Myanmar. It is very important to support these people and to support these people who are fighting against the junta, who are fighting to bring the democracy back to the country, to the proper channel. Please kindly support them. By supporting them, it will also support us, because this is our eternal message, is that we want to go back to our homeland, our motherland, Myanmar, with full citizenship rights.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ambia. Thank you for always making yourself available and for sharing your insights. And we wish you the best for the rest of Ramadan, and we wish your sister recovery, inshallah.
Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz. Thank you very much.
Assalamu
Allah
alaikum.
Hafiz. Wa alaikum assalam. Wa alaikum assalam.
So there you go, listeners. You've heard it from Dr. Ambia, the part of the Rohingya Medics Organization, the European Rohingya Council. You can easily find the organization online, and the idea is to find long-term sustainable ways to assist the Rohingya. Right now, we're trying to get hold of Panthar, who is the Rights of the Tears of Arakan. He's coming to us live from the camps in Bangladesh. So we hope that we can speak to him while we are waiting to get him online. So let's just go a little bit through some of the facts, right? Oh, there we go. Okay, so it seems that Panthar has joined us. Assalamu alaikum, Panthar. Welcome to the show. Can you hear me? Okay, we can see Panthar, but I'm not sure that he can hear us. So we're going to keep trying. In the meantime, so things have changed. Panthar, you have to unmute yourself so we can hear you. Okay, so we're waiting for Panthar to unmute himself so that he can hear us. So while, the military junta continues its leadership of Myanmar and its brutal attacks on the Rohingya, we remember that it's not just the Rohingya who are going through this. Okay, it is also the entire country, and the military has been devastating in the way that it has attacked citizens. And the people of Myanmar have been incredibly brave. They have continued to face this military onslaught. It's also allowed them, I would say, to recognize the Rohingya genocide and to recognize what the Rohingya have been through, because the military is using those exact tactics that they've used against the Rohingya, against the rest of the population of Myanmar. And so some of the big issues that we're dealing with is that you must remember that in 2012, there were these huge massacres in Rakhine State, and that kind of drew the world's attention to the area. And then in 2017, the genocide. But life in Bangladesh has not been easy for the Rohingya either. And so we're going to try to speak to more activists right now. We're going to be speaking to Mohammed Noor. Okay, and Mohammed Noor is a very interesting person. He has been doing all sorts of interesting things. He's a member of the Rohingya Quran translation team, the founder of the Rohingya Project, which is a blockchain-based organization to bring financial inclusion and digital identity to stateless people. He is a part of the team of the Rohingya Vision TV, which is watched by millions of people, including Rohingya from all over the world. He's also the chairman and the founder of the Rohingya Football Club, and I'm sure you love seeing their posts on Facebook and on Twitter. And so we're very, very happy to have him today speaking to us for the first time. Assalamu alaikum, Mohammed Noor, and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Thank you for having me.
So I'm sure you hear this from, lay people all the time, but can you please explain to us what does Rohingya blockchain even mean?
Thank you very much for having me here, and assalamu alaikum to all the listeners and readers and viewers as well. Rohingya has been the case of the Rohingya has been lingering for many decades without any solution. So one of the things that we have thought of to bring some sort of solution on the table using latest technologies such as blockchain. Blockchain is a hyper ledger that keeps record on decentralized manner. So I'm not going to go too technical onto that one, but
Thank you.
ultimately the idea of the blockchain is that you can own your own assets, such as your own money, crypto, your own digital, your own identity, and so on. So blockchain actually allows that. So the idea of the Rohingya project is to bring Rohingya some sort of solution using technology, as I told you, into social and financial inclusion to the Rohingya people. Rohingyas are not allowed to open up a bank account, do not have any livelihood, and are not allowed to go to any kind of institution or schools and so on. So what we are trying to enable using this technology is to bring a digital identity for the Rohingya people, and this digital identity will be as a key or an access key to the rest of the services that we're going to introduce. One of the things that we have introduced is called the R coin, is a Rohingya coin that people can transact value and transfer value. R coin is one of the product or one of the services given by the Rohingya project, and digital identity is another one, a self-sovereign identity that people can have their own name, so that their own name could not be erased or could not be killed by anyone, like the way we were killed back in 1982 by the Burmese junta. And another service that we are bringing on the table is called Art Academy, bringing different kind of learning experiences and courses, skill-based courses for people so that they can learn, along with some sort of digital blockchain-based credential. So they will have a kind of verifiable certificates in a simple manner.
That's
So
amazing.
yes, so that's what. So I am a more into believer of institutions. So as I have you introduced, I have co-founded a couple of organizations, and one of them is Rohingya Vision, considered the world first Rohingya television channel that broadcasts from within Arakan and outside Arakan, that tells the story. Where the birth of our vision was during the massacre started, or genocide started, the last genocide in 2012. That's where because Rohingya was misreported, misquoted, underreported, so we came into the picture, getting the real picture and tell our side of the story. So Rohingya Vision is the one institution that trains media and other people. And Rohingya Project is a solution provider that bringing solution through digital identity, education, and healthcare, and so on,
So,
and
Mohammed
many
Noor,
others.
sorry, to just go back for an instant. So, the Rohingya TV, where does it broadcast from?
It broadcasts from Malaysia, and we have
Okay.
different places in different parts of the world. We have a few people in Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, and we have also base in Bangladesh as well.
Okay. And the presenters are all Rohingya?
Yes, most of the presenters are Rohingya. The technical people are Rohingya. The cameraman, the script writers is done by the Rohingya mostly. Yes.
Okay. And are there subtitles? Like for people who are
Uh,
not Rohingya, can they also watch?
Rohingya Vision actually broadcasts in three languages. Number
Okay.
one is in Rohingya language itself. So we broadcast video like the one we are doing now, and we also have a Rohingya written website which has been
Okay.
unicoded. Rohingya has your own unique script that has been actually unicoded. I'm also part of that consortium as well, looking into how to digitize Rohingya language. And today we have the world first Rohingya written website that broadcasts news on a daily
Mhm.
basis. So there is one language. Second is in English. Third is in Burmese. So there
Okay.
are three different languages that we broadcast
And
for
have you
three
found that?
different audience.
Okay. And have you found that with the TV station, it's brought a sense of identity? Like, how has the response from Rohingya been about having their own station in their own language?
I mean, we have been to give one of the testimonial. Al Jazeera has done a huge documentary in
Hmm.
Bangladesh, Cox's Bazar camp, and different parts of the world to actually
Amazing.
get a response of how they feel about Rohingya Vision, about
Okay.
our Vision Media. So people feel extremely proud, and they believe that this is one of the mainstream media that actually broadcasts a Rohingya side of the story, and they are something extremely proud of, because media, blockchain, and football. This is all part of Rohingya identity that we are trying to
Exactly.
restore, and Rohingya institution that we are trying to restore, that will exist long after I even gone.
Tell us, this is really interesting because I remember we post a lot on Protect the Rohingya. We're always reposting stuff about the football club, and it's really exciting. And the support always looks really interesting. Like, how did that come about? Tell us more about the players and the team, and especially tell us for South Africans, because South Africans love football. We call it soccer. Please tell us more about how South Africans can support this team and contribute to this team as well.
Yeah, so the idea of the Rohingya football, so Rohingya has been playing football in different parts of the world, like in Bangladesh, in Burma, and all this. So either it could be for fun, or either to kill some time and all this. But in 2017, we a couple of Rohingya youth had decided to form a national football team. So Rohingya Football Club is a national team. The reason I say that, we have multiple teams in different parts of the world. So the
Okay.
idea of not just to kill time or just for fun, but also to bring Rohingya identity on the surface, because Rohingya are introduced today as a genocide victim, which is also true, but we're also people of talent, people of things that we can do if we are
Mhm.
given proper time and chance. So the idea of Rohingya football has risen from 2017 up till today. We have been featured by the United Nations, by UNHCR, and we have been partnered with different embassies all around the world, that include supported by the Australian government. And most importantly, there is something called FIFA, which everybody knows, that they play World Cup, where different nations comes together and play football. And there is something alternative called Kanifa. Kanifa is an alternative to FIFA, where de facto nation, stateless people, and other people that comes to us. So we have been Rohingya Football Club, RFC, have been accepted as a national team in Kanifa, and now we are playing against other people, other nations as well, as a which is considered refugee or a stateless World Cup.
That's
So,
pretty cool.
so that is extremely good news for the Rohingya, and we have a
Yes.
lot of players from Malaysia, from Bangladesh, and the support that we are getting from different parts is really huge. We have a site and a website and a Facebook where you can reach out to us, and now we are actually partnering with different team that can support us, not only in terms of logistics, also about training, and support us in terms of jersey
Cool.
and all this, because this is a refugee team that needs quite a number of support to carry on the activity.
So, if South Africans want to support the Rohingya Football Club, how do they get hold of you, or how do they get hold of the club?
So we have a website called rohingyafc.com, or
Hmm.
Rohingya Football Club on Facebook. You can message us. We have not set up any funding resources yet, but
Okay.
it can be. We occasionally we do crowdfunding campaigns. So once we have, maybe we would like to post, and it. So after Ramadan, we are because of the COVID for last 2 years, there was not much activity due to lockdown and so on. So after Eid, inshallah, we are trying to, and this is not only sense of identity, but also sense of joy. A lot of people,
Mm.
and diversion from doing a lot of wrongdoings and so on. Especially youth are valuable asset of a community that has to be protected and given right direction and vision.
Okay, and that's so interesting. I really love this, the whole football club. I love following it. The last question that I want to ask you, it's Ramadan, and I wanted to ask you about the Quran translation project. We've been watching it; it's been doing really well. Can you tell the listeners more about this project?
Yes, thank you. So, as different project that I'm doing, one of the most important project that I'm carrying on today is Rohingya Quran translation.
Mhm.
So, this project started back in 2012, with the start of Rohingya Vision Media. We have started with a couple of translation of surah. That is extremely unfortunate for a 4 million Rohingya community across the globe, that we did not manage to translate Rohingya Quran into Rohingya language for last 1,400 years, and rest of the community has done so. So it's extremely unfortunate. So I've been trying to do that since 2012. We have did couple of surah, but due to the resources, we will not been able to proceed, because you need dedicated team, you need people who understand the language, understand the Quran, understand different type of translation, and it has to be authenticated, it has to be verified by different source of information, and most importantly it has to be vetted by ulama and leaders and so on. So we are so fortunate enough to have one of the scholar that we have. His name is Qutb, who's supposed to be here. I came one of his replacement as well. So our brother Qutb is a PhD in Usul al-Din, is a very qualified person to do such a thing. So he have for last year we have went with full swing. We decided that we're going to complete this inshallah in 2 years time.
Alhamdulillah.
Before Ramadan we started, which is in February last year, 2021. We have started that. Up till today we have alhamdulillah, we have now ahead of our time, we have already completed 15 juz of Quran, totally translated and broadcasted over the YouTube channel and over our media and so on. So alhamdulillah, 15 is done. Next 15 we are doing it. We are doing a fundraising campaign through Global Sadaqah, is one of a local partner here in Malaysia that actually supporting us in getting this project done, in getting some sort of funding so that we can run. We have different running costs that include our office costs, our staff remunerations, and other resources that we need to produce this. We are converting this now into an audio visual, which has already been done for the last 15 juz, and now we are raising fund for next 15 juz over Global Sadaqah RT, and you can actually go our website as well, rohingyaquran.com. So there's another
I saw that.
website.
So people can donate from the website if they want to, from all over the world. It's really wonderful. All of these efforts that you are part of, they're really amazing. And we hope to follow up a lot with them in the future and learn more about them. But I want to say thank you for joining us, firstly. Keep up the great work. We wish the best to you and your team. And we also wish you the best for the rest of Ramadan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ramadan Mubarak to all the viewers. Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum. So folks, that things are amazing. Like when we think about it, from the last 2 years to now, there are blockchain projects, Quran projects, and this exciting membership of the Refugee Football Association. Things are happening, and see, there's always hope, even in the darkest spaces, or those spaces that we think are dark spaces. We're trying to get hold of Panthar. He's in the camps today, and the reception, as you know, is not always great in the camps. And so we're trying to get hold of him. And we also have Naysan, who we'll be speaking to. And Naysan is one of the lead commentators on the Rohingya from all over the media. I'm sure his face is very familiar to you, especially with our campaigns and especially on Salam Media in South Africa. So we're trying to get hold of Panthar, and we're going to be trying now to speak to Naysan as well. So we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook Live, and we're happy to answer your questions as well. We're going to go to this short break, and we'll be back with you in a few minutes.
Zeno buzere tare ador gori buzaiso Zeno buzere tare ador gori buzaiso Muhabbatar mala galat fidai bar waqto Rohingya baye ajja ek karno siyat funo Dig parve aar ke baye bhukat ho zaino Rohingya baye ajja ek karno siyat funo Dig parve aar ke baye bhukat ho zaino روهینگا بین هر یک قومت آسه گم خراف گم خراف اور بوزین فیل کیلا روهینگا بین هر یک قومت آسه گم خراف گم خراف اور بوزین فیل کیلا آگے نیزے گمبونی بر کوشش تو گورو آگے نیزے گمبونی بر کوشش تو گورو তারপরে যাই নিজর বাইরে বুঝাই তো
ओ रोहिंग्या बये अज्जा कर नसीहत फोनो दिग पयोरे आर के बये भूकत हो जइलो रोहिंग्या बये अज्जा कर नसीहत फोनो दिग पयोरे आर के बये भूकत हो जइलो
आरा रोहिंगा जाति बैन आरा मुसलमान आरा एकन देशर मानुष आरार देश आरे कान आरा रोहिंगा जाति बैन आरा मुसलमान आरा एकन देशर मानुष आरार देश आरे कान आरा बर्मियोनो आरा बंगालियोनो आरा बर्मियोनो आरा बंगा
Assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome to this very special Ramadan programming. It's Humanitarian Hour, and today our focus is on the Rohingya. We've spoken to interesting guests from all over the world, including South Africa. People are doing amazing work, and right now we're going to cross over to one of our old favorites. It's Naysan Lwin, and he's going to be speaking to us from Germany. He is part of the Free Rohingya Coalition. He's also a commentator, and you probably recognize him from all the international media. Naysan, assalamu alaikum and welcome to the show today.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Ramadan Mubarak, Shabnam.
And to you, it's always good to see you.
Thank you so much for hosting this program. I'm really, my previous speaker also explained about his work. So I think Panta is struggling to join this program. So, and
if
also
we get
my
him, we
special
will just put him with us. Okay?
Yeah, no problem at all. So my special thank to the Salam Media as well for always covering the Rohingya issue. They didn't leave any single, the things. They always cover all the issue. I really thank the Salam Media because they have also the large audience. The audience are well informed about our situation.
Alhamdulillah. So we have to get straight into this week's news because all over the newspapers we're seeing about this Malaysia situation and how they are asking Malaysian officials to not spread hate about the Rohingya. And there's all these big headlines. So maybe you can tell the listeners a little bit more about what happened in Malaysia this week.
Well, it is very sad development in Malaysia, especially during the Ramadan. The people who escaped from the detention center in Penang, they were in the detention for, I think, almost 3-4 years. There are about 600 Rohingya and Rohingya women and men and children as well. So since they have been in this detention for many years and they have no future at all, finally they managed to escape from the detention center. While they are escaping, while they are they're crossing the highway, they met accident, including 2 children, total 6 who were died on the spot by the accident. So now all the human rights organization in Malaysia and also across the world, and also the Rohingya organization are calling for the independent investigation, because if I tell you frankly, they don't believe that this is the accident,
Mm-hmm.
there is something behind this so-called accident, they believe that. So everyone is calling for the independent investigation,
Mm-hmm.
and also we are asking the Malaysian government, Malaysian authority to release them, and also to allow the UNHCR to assess them, because the UNHCR was not allowed to assess them. So they, most of them, they don't have the UNHCR recognition card. So at least if they have they are, they're recognized by the UNHCR, they can be resettled in the third country. At least they can start the process. So this is the update from Malaysia. You know that there are about the 150,000 Rohingya are there. They have been fleeing since I think since 2006, 2006. But nowadays, from the Bangladesh, the Cox's Bazar camp, and also the people who are remaining in Rakhine State, they are also continuously fleeing to Malaysia, and most of them were arrested on their way before they left from the border of the Burma. They were arrested and sentenced to 2 years, at least 2 years with the hard labor. So since the coup, I think at least 1,000 Rohingya men, women were arrested, and they are being sentenced to at least 2 years with the hard labor.
And it's really terrible to see that the Malaysian officials are saying dangerous people. I mean, we all know for a fact that the Rohingya are not dangerous people, and Malaysian officials should be more careful.
Well, Shabnam, this is, the Rohingya issue is like a political tool in Myanmar and also in Malaysia now. So if you are against the Rohingya, you will have the supporter. That the people, the public also. There are a lot of hate comment
Mm,
against the Rohingya. You see the same thing like in Myanmar. Of course, I'm not accusing them that they are killing,
mm,
torturing or something, but the hate, the this
exactly.
all the things, that even the genocide happened, is begin by this hatred.
Exactly, exactly. And I mean, you know, I when I read the news, like from a country like Malaysia during Ramadan, I expect better. And I'm sure many people out there expect a country like Malaysia to do better, especially during Ramadan for those that are in need. Nathan, I want to go a little bit to the coup in Myanmar. And if you can just give us a few updates, because as I was explaining, and the listeners know, from last year now, it's over a year, the coup continues in Myanmar, and people, everyday people in Myanmar continue to go to the streets and to put their lives in danger. And it's really helped, I think, people from Myanmar to understand what the Rohingya went through. But what are the updates in terms of the national unity government and people on the ground in Myanmar?
Well, there are some fighting going on inside the Myanmar, and until now, we have to say that this is the failed coup, because the military is not controlling all the territory. Some territory are controlled by especially in Rakhine State, where the 600,000 Rohingya remain. This place is, this area is mostly controlled by the Arakan army. I mean the Rakhine army. So in other area like Karen State, Kachin State, and then many other region, they are controlling by their, the ethnic armed group, and also the People Defense Force under the National Unity Government. They are also controlling some area. So, but the problem is the PDF, the member of the PDF, they have the will to fight against this military, but they are not supported by the international community like Ukraine. For the Ukraine,
Mhm,
you see like US, how US and UK and European country are supporting them with the arms and all the
mhm,
the equipment they need. But unlike the Ukraine, the Burmese have no help at all. So they are struggling by themselves. Even to get to manage to get the weapon from the black market, also not really easy. So they are inventing by themselves, they are producing by themselves. So I think, most of the people in Myanmar, they don't really believe, that the United Nations will do something for them, and the US, UK, and the EU will do something for them, because the sanction they impose against the military is, compared to the Ukraine, it is nothing. So what we want is a completely change. The military should go back to barrack, and they don't have to. They stop, the participating in the politics. So this is not going to happen by the help of international community. So what the Myanmar people believe is, that the revolution only is a solution. So they are trying. There is a fundraising. They are selling the bond. So many things. So since there is no support from any country, so it will take time. But still, that the people are not going to give up. I think this time, even if this take time, I think the people will win, because they don't really want this military anymore. In regard to the Rohingya, since I think it has been almost a year now, the national unity government make the announcement about the Rohingya. Since then, they didn't do any other thing. They tried to represent at the International Court of Justice, but they failed, since the ICJ invited the military. So there is nothing development yet. And also, since the territory of the Rakhine State is mostly controlled by the Arakan Army, and the Arakan Army has also no relationship with the NUG. They don't have the no official relationship yet. So it is like, the now Arkan State or the Rakhine State is completely separated, and although it is not independent yet, it is like independent. The military has also I mean, they have built a good friendship with the Arakan army, and also there is the ceasefire, so no fighting there in Rakhine State. But the people, the Rohingya people, they are still, suffering the same situation, same persecution. Uh, so the genocide is, simply the genocide is still ongoing. And also, since the Arkan army is controlling the territory, there are their troops, present in the ground. So there are the abusers, as usual, like the Myanmar military did. They are also doing the same thing. Although that the Arkan army policy is like the in public, they are favoring the Rohingya and the Muslim. First of all, they don't recognize the term Rohingya, and second of all, they are trying to recruit the Rohingya for the lower level. So if they consider the Rohingya, as equal, they have to give Rohingya equal right, and consider the equal. And also there are the abusers at the grassroots level. We are documenting, but we will release, when the time comes. So we are not bothering every day that they are doing this, but we are documenting everything, all the abuses, the both military and this Arkan army is committing there.
Because we often forget, there's still like 600,000 Rohingya in Rakhine State. And because we're always dealing with Bangladesh and speaking about the camp, sometimes we forget that, Rohingya are still there suffering the same way they have been suffering, if not worse, from the late 70s. Nathan, the last question I have for you is, can you just give us more information about the situation in Bangladesh with the Rohingya, especially now in Ramadan?
Well, we are very unfortunate people, and and this, especially in this Ramadan, as I told you earlier about the Malaysia and also in Bangladesh, during in the beginning of Rohingya hundred in the beginning of Ramadan, hundred of Rohingya were detained by the this local police and the authority. Just they go outside of the camp. The camp are fence, and they install the barbed wire and the watchtower. Of course, this infrastructure, the structure, I mean, and the barbed wire and the watchtower. I live in Germany. I have visited all the concentration camp and also in Poland. So whenever I see this barbed wire and the watchtower, it really make me crazy. This is the structure of the concentration camp. I'm
Uh-huh.
not accusing, they are living in the concentration camp, but the structure,
It looks.
at least they should have the freedom not only in Bangladesh, but also in Pakistan, Iran, Turkey, and all the European country. They have the refugee in Malaysia as well, in India as well. At least, they should have the freedom of
Mhm.
movement. I'm not saying, allow them to go to the Dhaka or the Chittagong. At least let them to stay freely in the Ukhia area. Now they are fans inside the camp. When the fire, the incident happened, the people cannot escape. Last year
Mhm.
in March, many children were killed by the fire. But this Ramadan, many hundred were arrested by the local authority. Just they go outside the camp. This is really, I don't know what to say. It is the Muslim country. It happened in the Buddhist
Exactly.
country. Yeah, something we can say. They are, that this is religious persecution. And and we are not, even, if the wall or the Bangladesh force us to live in Bangladesh, we will not live. We really love our homeland.
Yes,
We
of
will
course.
go back. We are not going to
Inshallah.
integrate in this country. Inshallah, we will one day we will go back. So at least, you also visited the camp. I also
Mhm.
visited the camp. So we saw the actual situation there. Sometimes, it is unbearable, and we are human. So
Mhm.
instead of, criticizing so much, what I would like to tell them is, this is your fellow human being. You were also once persecuted by the, the Pakistani military,
Pakistani
and
military.
you,
Mhm.
yeah, you liberated. You know how this pain are.
Mhm.
So we have the same pain.
Of
I
course.
thought they will really sympathize us. Since they were in the same situation.
Mhm.
So what I would like to ask them is, just respect your fellow human being. So we are
Mhm.
not going to exploit your natural resources or anything, your place. One day, definitely we will go back. Just suppose our
Inshallah.
struggle. We will never forget you. We will be your good neighbor, and we can establish the business. We will support back you with a lot of things. If we can go back there. So yeah.
So, Nathan, the last question I have for you is what can South Africans do? I know I always ask you this and you always have things they can do. So, please tell us, it's the last few days of Ramadan. What is it that the South Africans can do now in the last 10 days of Ramadan and always for the Rohingya?
Well, for the last 10 days, we are now, I think we have only 7 days. So still, if the South African Muslim, if they want to support the refugee in Cox's Bazar, there are a lot of civil society organization and the NGOs, charity organization are working. And, these people are supported by the WFP and the other NGOs just for their survival. There is nothing special for the Ramadan. So in last 7 day, if you can support them through the charity working there, that would be really great. And also for the Eid, in the Eid, especially the children, they want to wear the new clothes. That is, all the children,
Everywhere.
if you
Mhm.
you can support something that will really make them happy, and it will be rewarded by the Allah, Almighty Allah, for always. I am really surprised. South Africa is now standing with the Russia, for in Ukraine issue. So I don't know. This is maybe their stand, but I'm not going to criticize about this, but I'm going to speak for ourselves. So for the Rohingya, South Africa also suffered the same like apartheid situation. I have visited the museum in Johannesburg. The even the farm, the African, South African need to hold, the same like the Rohingya farm for, when the Rohingya travel to one town to another, they need to hold the same thing like that.
A pass. Mhm.
So you can really, you will really understand our pain. So at least the pressure that this Myanmar military, and also we have got the parallel government, but the media call the parallel government, but they have the people mandate, and also pressure them and support that the case at the International Court of Justice. You can the South Africa officially can join. And also diplomatic pressure. You can do a lot of
Yeah.
things, like the downgrade the diplomatic relationship, cut off the business tie, the sports, social, everything. But I am not asking too much. But at least don't forget us,
Exactly.
the refugee, and also the pressure to this military and the national unity government. uh,
Thank
but
you.
the most important is joining the case at the International Court of Justice. This is officially can do it. Will be a lot for us. Thank you so much, Shabnam.
Thank you. Thank you. And we wish you all the best for the rest of Ramadan. Thank you for always joining us and keep up the great work.
You are welcome. Assalamu alaikum
Okay.
warahmatullahi
Walaikum
wabarakatuh.
salam. So, listeners, we've been able to cover the world through different Rohingya. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Panthar, but what he has done is sent me some messages. So I just want to read those to you so he can also be part of the show. He says he's written over 290 poems since putting the pen to paper for the first time in 2018. And many of these have been published online on platforms like the Art Garden for the Rohingya and Rohingya Art Vision. And he also uses pseudonyms. And his latest name, Hantar, is related to his village in Myanmar. And he began writing to put out his feelings, to know that, for everyone to know that Rohingya are surviving. And it's very important for him to tell people. And it's also that writing makes him feel glad to be part of this community, for his activism. And for him, his pen is his gun, and his bullet and his ink is his activism. And he spends his time in Cox's Bazar writing poems. And also he wants the world to know how much Rohingya are tortured. Schools have been closed in the camps. There are trafficking issues. There've been more than 40 fires in the camps recently. And then his recent book, The Tears of Arakan, that we wanted to talk to him about today, is a collection of poetry. There are thoughts and feelings and experiences and expressions of a human being who has lived a multitude of intersecting and parallel lives, which amount to beauty, community, brutality, love, horror, and survival. Lives that are in constant movement while resting in states of expression. It's the art which is political. His art is fierce and peaceful, and it's the voice that expresses the real and coherent interests, not just of himself, but also the Rohingya community at large. And he said, please, can we read this poem of his? It's called What Unity Can Change by Panthar. Unity can build peace, for there are more questions even after death. It will ask more if we don't try to act on time. We will surely fail at peace. Unity can change the society, for there are more questions even after death. It will ask more if we don't raise our voices together. Our society will not leave us in peace. Unity can educate the society, for there are more questions even after education. They will ask more if we don't educate ourselves together. Our society will wallow in divided arrogance. Unity can fight for the society, for there are more questions even after we rise. It will ask for more. If we don't fight with our arms together, our society will hallucinate in its abilities. So this is his poem that he wanted me to share with everyone. I want to thank all of you for joining us in this special Ramadan programming. I want to say Jazakallah to our guests, to the team in studio, which is Sadiq and Ponti, Fatima Zahra for being on Twitter with us. And we're coming back on the 13th of June. It's going to be 10 years of Protect the Rohingya in South Africa, and it's going to be Black for Rohingya on June 13th. So we hope that you will join us. The details will follow, inshallah. And with that, it's from me, Shabnam. I'm signing off. I'm wishing you a wonderful final week of Ramadan. Do remember the Rohingya and all the oppressed in your du'as. And once again, thank you for joining us. You can follow us at Protect Rohingya on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Rohingya baye ajja ekkarno siyat fono Dig payore arge baye bhukat ho jailo Rohingya baye ajja ekkarno siyat fono Dig payore arge baye bhukat ho jailo
Zeno buzer tare ador gori buzaiso Zeno buzer tare ador gori buzaiso Mohabbatar mala galat fidai bar vokto
Rohingya baye ajja ekkarno siyat fono Dig payore arge baye bhukat ho jailo Rohingya baye ajja ekkarno siyat fono Dig payore arge baye bhukat ho jailo
Rohingya bayan har ek qawmat aase gam khoraf aure buzai no faile kila Rohingya bayan har ek qawmat aase gam khoraf aure buzai no faile kila Age nize gomboni bar kushish to goro Age nize gomboni bar kushish to goro Tarpore jai nijor baiyore buzaito so
Rohingya baye ajja ekkarno siyat fono Dig payore arge baye bhukat ho jailo Rohingya baye ajja ekkarno siyat fono Dig payore arge baye bhukat ho jailo
Ara Rohingya zati bayan ara Musalman Ara ekan deshor manush arar desh arkan Ara Rohingya zati bayan ara Musalman Ara ekan deshor manush arar desh arkan Ara Burmiyono ara Bangaliyono Ara Burmiyono ara Bangaliyono